Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel for another indoor build. Now today we are going to be doing one that actually was requested on one of my previous indoor builds, which is to do the purple dark castle we got from the premium shop. Now I have never done the interior of this. I've always wanted to do all the interiors, so I'm kind of making my way through the interiors of all the different premium shop houses we have, just because I feel like it's cool to have them all decorated inside, see how I can kind of theme them all to whatever kind of area they're in. So today it is going to be this purple dark castle, which I very much went for a kind of villainous theme. I didn't quite go down the witch route. I went more of a villain vibe, as I want to do a witch theme in my haunted mansion. So to start off in here, I went for obviously a very purple theme. I used a lot of the thorny items that we get just from playing the game and leveling up. So a lot of these will be accessible to those of you who are newer to the game or haven't quite made their way through Scrooge's catalogue yet. Majority of the kind of bigger items in here, like the pillars and the windows and the wallpapers, are all going to be accessible just by playing the game. There are obviously items in here that are either character quest items or Scrooge's and maybe premium, but I wanted to make some of it in here accessible, and then you can kind of chop and change it to how you want to edit it if you decide to do this yourself. So the first room we start off in is kind of like the entranceway room. Now I wanted this not to feel too grand or too kind of fairy tale like. I didn't want it to feel like it was a kind of palace. I wanted it to feel a bit more run down, a bit more natural, as though the villain has kind of been outcast and they've now got this kind of purple castle kind of out in the woods. They've been kind of rejected and have to kind of start from the ground up. I didn't want it to feel too posh or too regal in here, so I went for a really simple entranceway room with a desk and a piano and just a little seating area by a fireplace. I wanted it to feel very natural, very lived in, as though someone would actually use this room in their own home. As we go through the whole build, it goes for every single room. If there are any items in here that you are not sure how I got them, or you don't have them yourself and want to kind of figure out whether they're Scrooge items or premium shop, do let me know down below in the comments, and I'm more than happy to let you know where they're from, just so you can know exactly what's been used. So the next room we're working on is the one on the right, which is going to be a bedroom. Now in here I again went for a very purple thorny theme, but I decided to go with the wood floor instead, as it felt a bit more natural for a bedroom, and the dark wood floor just works perfectly to kind of create this dark theme. I did continue the theme of the thorny windows as well as the pillars in each corner of the room. I kind of wanted to continue this theme throughout all the different rooms to make it seem as though the pillars are kind of built into the house structure. So I did go in and use a lot of the thorny items in here to kind of set up the base of the room, and then I started adding other dark wood furniture to kind of add to the room and make it feel a bit more lived in. Now in here I was going to do a touch of magic rug underneath the bed area. I wanted to do like a dark grey, but as you can see, nothing in this game decides to centre. So I realised it wasn't going to be central and it was going to bother me, so I instead went for some just simple red carpets before moving on to the back room, which again has the kind of purple tiled floor, so it kind of matches that grand entranceway, and a darker wood wall. And this in here is going to be kind of a study space. Now as I said at the start, I didn't want this house to be too witchy. I didn't want it to feel like a witch's home, because I am going to do that in a different building in my valley. So I didn't want to have kind of two buildings with the same kind of design. This one I wanted it to feel a lot more villainous. Obviously there are things in here relating to like potions and witchcraft and stuff like that, but I didn't want it to feel directly like a witch's home. I wanted it to feel a lot more villainous. So in the study I wanted to kind of have little attributes of kind of potion making and things like that, but mainly I wanted to kind of give the overall theme of this being kind of like a villain's lair, and this is where they come to kind of make up schemes and plans of how they are going to kind of do their villainous deeds. Now this is the final room, which is on the left, which is actually going to be a kitchen space. Now originally I was going to make this kind of like a grand dining hall, and I kind of debated on it for a very long time, but I decided that I feel like a grand dining hall would work better in a witch themed home. So again, I decided to go a different route, and I actually thought I would try my hand at making kind of like a dark villain kitchen space, which is hard to do in this game because we have very limited kitchen furniture. We really only have a couple of different sets of kitchen furniture that are not from the modern category, and then we have a lot of modern furniture in all different colours and designs. There's just so many of them. So actually I decided to go with just all black kitchen counters. Now obviously these are very modern and more modern than I would want in a building like this. I would rather have a very rustic dark counter set, but as we don't have a black kind of villainous counter set, I decided to go with the black modern ones and try my hand and see how it looked. Now I'm not 100% set on this, but I do like how it turns out in the end. It's a very simple kind of build, and I didn't want this house to feel too much as though they would have lots of people gathering here to sit around a grand dining table and eat together, because this is a villain's lair. So I wanted it to feel like they were the only one who lived here, no one came to visit, and kind of give that atmosphere. So I felt like having this big open kitchen space made more sense to me than having kind of like a grand dining table for people to sit together. That was kind of my train of thought, but at the end of the day, it's up to you what you choose to do in your villain's lair. But I personally just wanted to see if I could achieve a kind of dark, more of a different vibe kitchen than I usually go for. I usually go for a more cottagecore style kitchen, and this was something a bit different. So I did place all the counters around the back of the room and did a kind of little counter space at the front for people to sit at, but I kind of dotted some items around the room. I didn't want it to feel too cluttered in here. I wanted it to be kind of simple, and so I just figured out the main kitchen space before adding in the other items. And I do go in off camera and add a bunch of food, which we'll see in the walkthrough later on, but I kind of just dotted around the furniture I knew I wanted to use and made it look as kind of spooky as I possibly could. Now this is the final build, so I will walk you through. As you can see, this is the grand entranceway, and I really like how this looks. I think it looks very gloomy, very dark. I do wish throughout this whole build that we were able to change the ceiling colour in our rooms. I feel like it would just make it look darker in here, but I've added a lot of bookshelves. I added some covered over paintings, which I love using in spooky builds. We have this little fireplace seating area, and then next to that on the other side of the door we have a piano and just a little entranceway table with some scrolls. Lots of these spooky paintings that we got in the Halloween Star Path last year, and a little desk at the back for people to sit and read. As we head into the right hand side, we obviously have all the thorny doors for each room, and this is the bedroom. Now as you can see, I did add the red rugs underneath the bed as they were the only thing that would be symmetrical, but above the bed we have lots of paintings, again the spooky ones from the Star Path and a Scrooge one. We have another fireplace in here just because it fit really well in the atmosphere of the room. I just felt like using another one made sense. And lots of other items around the room. I used the flowers by the door to kind of create an entranceway, and then just had this small dressing area. But I wanted to keep the room in here very simple and make it seem as though they don't spend much time in here. They spend most of their time in the next room, which is their study. As we head into the back room, this is their study. Now this was the main room I really wanted to focus on. I absolutely love how it turned out. I did add a rug to the floor off camera because I forgot to put it in, but that's just in the center of the room, and we can see the desk with the smaller bookcases behind at the center of the room with lots of items on top. We've got the bookshelves lining the walls on either side, and then we have the furniture around the side that have lots of potions and books and candles on them. Again, the pillars are throughout the room, and it just feels like a really nice space for a villain to hang out and kind of craft up plans and schemes and kind of come up with everything. Now the final room is the room obviously on the left when you come in, which is this kitchen space, which again I said I wasn't 100% confident on, but I actually really like how it turned out. I feel like it's a very clean, simple space. I did add some purple footstools by the counter and added some food throughout the counters. I kind of went for like the creepy foods. I kind of went for some teas and coffees, and then I went for some ghostly fish steaks and some jars of things just to look kind of creepy. I put lots of paintings over the walls. I wanted it to feel quite eclectic in here and have lots of artwork around, and I did add a rug on the floor by the doorway and some potions above the kind of kitchen counters. I wanted it to feel very gloomy in here, and I feel like that kind of was achieved. So here are some final shots of the build. Now, as I said throughout, this hasn't got too much of a witchy theme to it, and that was kind of the atmosphere I wanted to go for, and I feel like I definitely achieved that. I feel like it feels a lot more like a villain's house. It kind of makes me think of a house like Maleficent maybe would stay in, and not if she wasn't in a big castle, it would be somewhere like this. I wanted it to feel kind of more of a brooding lair than anything, which I feel like I managed to achieve. I really like how all the rooms turned out. The study is especially my favourite. I think the study turned out really, really good, and I'm just generally happy with how it looks. Let me know down below what you guys think of this interior. It was requested, so I hope I lived up to expectation of designing it. I am going to be doing a witchy house interior in a different premium shop building, so that will be coming at some point. So if that's something you're interested in seeing, let me know. That one will be more of a witch theme. I have got some other interiors coming up and some ideas in mind, so if you want to see any in particular that I haven't done yet, let me know down below and I will add them to the list of the ones I need to do, because there is a lot of them. Thank you for all the support on the channel. It means so much, and make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Have a lovely week. Bye!